You're listening to Grant's Rants. Subscribe and spread the word. There are a lot more rants to come. Listen anytime on all major podcasting platforms. And now, back to the show.
And we're back on the podcast. I'm joined by Fern and Justin. Good to have you both here as continuing on with this Thanksgiving panel.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Here we are. Let's get into some Real Housewives of New York City news. After a rough season with low ratings and some bad press, to say the least, an insider says that there are no plans to bring the show back until through 2023. So there'll be no RHONY in 2022. We've heard this. I feel like it's kind of obvious, but someone's going to say something. So, but they did say the show was still alive, but you have to Bravo doesn't cancel stuff. So I guess it's important to say, well, it's not on the schedule. It doesn't mean it's dead. So I'm glad about that. Some people have said the show should come to an end. I'm not ready for that. So I'm glad that it does continue, but yeah, they've got a lot of work to do. There's some other small news in here, but I want the two of you to react to this news. What do you think of the state of RHONY?
Well, full disclosure, I worked on season 13 of the show.
The most recent season for people listening.
Most recent season, this low-rated whatever. Even though I will say that this low-rated RHONY season rates higher than Potomac, rates higher than a lot of the other shows that are on Bravo. Mm-hmm. And funnily enough, Below Deck is their highest rated show. So it's not even necessarily about the Housewives over there all the time anymore.
True.
But I will say that I think moving forward, everything that the fans kind of see and know and have come to learn about this franchise, and before ever working on the show, I was a fan of these shows. Stuff trickles out through the press all the time. And as we've learned now, also kind of with Ultimate Girls Trip, which we'll talk about a little more shortly, eventually the truth kind of comes out, even if it's years later, about whatever these stories. And same thing with the book, Not All Diamonds and Rosé. You hear the stories and you get kind of the facts years after the show might have aired and all this drama might have happened. And usually what we realize as fans is that we were always kind of close to the truth and maybe just missing some nuances. So I would say take from that what you will. And I think that people are always, the show is still alive. Everyone still wants a Real Housewives of New York City. How that evolves and changes is up in the air right now, as Andy said, as the network has said. And I think that there's a lot of opportunity moving forward. And the first, 12, 13 years of the show were the first 12, 13 years. And every season of every city is a specific period of time and a specific group of women. And that always changes. So last year's season was the thick of New York City at the tail end of the pandemic. And it was rough for everybody involved. And it's reality TV. So you guys got the real footage that was caught.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people who watch these shows, sometimes me included, who are quite critical and always saying that these shows are near death. So I think for some people really want to just bring RHONY down. I am not one of them, but I think a lot of people definitely felt like because of the Bethany effect, right? Oh, Bethany left. Oh, the show is going down. Oh, it's in terrible shape. People just wanted to keep that narrative going because they want to believe that Bethany is the only savior of the show.
Yeah. And they're looking for likes and retweets and, comments and their own, whatever they're pushing. And everyone's got a hot take and it's all silly and frivolous because what I learned really, and the team is amazing. I love the people that work on the show, and so many of them have been doing it since the beginning and for so long, and they're very talented, and they've made a lot of that iconic comedic television that we love and that we've seen for years and years and years. And so I hope that, we kind of can hit that great comedy that RHONY is again in the near future. Last year was tough for everybody. And even, when they did that reunion, season 12 with Ramona with the clear mask, I don't wear a mask in the ocean. It was intense. It was a lot. So I don't know. The future is the future. We'll see what that brings.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Fern, as a longtime viewer, what did you make of it?
Yeah, I don't want to see it canceled, but I feel like all of these shows, like the best seasons are the ones I think are the ones where people like really have a genuine beef with each other. So like, I mean, this is going way back, but Bethany and Jill were real friends and had a real falling out. And I feel like that's what, with all of these shows, Melissa, I thought the best seasons of New Jersey were when Melissa and Teresa hated each other, because that was like a real fight that, they really didn't like each other. And we got to see it play out. So I feel like if they can cast new people who have a history and who we can see them flesh out their relationship, I think that's what makes these shows interesting. That's what hooked me, the characters and the people and their stories. And yeah, there are comedic moments because they're also outrageous, these outrageous personalities. So I just have to find the right people, but I don't want to see it canceled at all. New York was always my favorite because I felt like they had real issues. But they were friends too.
Yeah. Well, Luann and Ramona seem to be open to bringing in new people on the Kelly Clarkson show. I like how Ramona did preface saying like, if we continue, but like, I like how they sit there so comfortably. Like, yeah, we're going to welcome people in if we want, if they're interested, like it's their show, they're gatekeeping.
What you see is what you get with them.
Yeah. Yeah. Andy told Michael Rappaport that they're casting, quote, a lot. Okay. And looking at every option. So the usual talking points. I don't know. I'm just glad that it'll continue, but I don't know. Some people like live for these seasons. Like when they come, they come. I think we have so many Housewives right now. And now we've got the spinoffs. It's enough for me. I don't need, I'm not like people count down for the Jersey trailer like every year. It's aggressive. Like I'm okay. I have enough Housewives to watch.
And after all these years, you'd think that, a lot of viewers would have learned that ultimately what you want in the end is the best story. And when that comes, will come, and so True. Jersey had to take some time off. And yeah, they did Teresa Goes to Jail. But in the long arc of these shows, the fact these are some of the longest running TV shows in history now, and to be documenting these people's real lives, they reflect our real lives in a lot of ways, and we've grown with them, and we see the journeys that they're on, and that doesn't happen neatly year to year necessarily when the show is going to air. So it's messy and it's complicated, and it really is real life. And they're making a TV show and they know that, but their actions on said TV show also have consequences. So
are we thankful for this Real Housewives ultimate girls trip? The RHUGT thing throws me every time. Are we thankful for this show? I'll get into it, but I want to hear from you guys first.
Fern, you want to go first?
I haven't watched it yet. I know there's one episode out, right?
Well, if you subscribe to Peacock Premium, you can watch
get them all.
The first 4.
I'm not doing that.
We might have.
I did it. I did it. I'm thankful for it. I appreciate this.
I'm not thankful for Peacock. Can I just say that?
I was very speculative about this show. What I heard about it like in advance, and I was like, and they're playing games and doing this, but it actually is really cute. I think editorially, the team made some like really interesting decisions in how they've taken a really creative approach to this mashup, and they mash up the footage and make edits in ways that we haven't seen on these shows before. And they even have a really fun theme song. Like I want to know who did this Caribbean Housewives mix, and like you will hear a remix of that in the gay club in like 2 weeks, I promise. But I think it's really fun, and they all went in, with their walls down, and the show is entirely breaking the fourth wall. They're talking about production. They're talking about what it's like to be a reality star and the consequences of that, and how challenging it's been, and what it's like when your friend really betrays you for the sake of the show. Or like with Bethany and Luann, when Bethany showed Luann the picture of Tom making out with that woman at the bar. Like, Luann's like, you didn't have to do that on camera, but she did it for the sake of TV. And so they're having really interesting conversations. And, you know, just, I'm not going to say who, but fair warning, you are getting a lot of full frontal from these housewives. And that is something unprecedented. And I don't know if we all needed to see it, but we've seen it now. So that's happening.
I'm intrigued, not by the full frontal, but by the idea that they break the fourth wall, because that's what always annoyed me with these shows was like, I would just watch them and be like, it was edit, like they're saying this for a reason, or they're like, I would always be like, if it weren't on a TV show, then XYZ, you know, like it would always drive me nuts that they were like kind of playing and not acknowledging that they were being recorded and on a show. So that makes me want to watch it.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
I had no interest in watching this at all. And then it was like events from the week, and things got crazy. And I was like, I need just something mindless. And then, of course, in the city, there are buses with all the housewives on them, which I've never seen before. And I was like, okay, I'll watch it. And I just watched the first episode and I was wrong. I laughed. I had a good time. I thought it was absurd. It has every housewives trope you could imagine, but yet I was entertained. And for that, I am thankful.
Yeah.
You know,
Nice.
it was enough for me to continue. I am looking forward, like I think the most of us are looking forward to the second one more with the casting choices they made. But Justin, I just want to add, like, you're completely right with the editorial decisions and the approach they took at the breaking of the fourth wall. This is all stuff I think we've asked for as longtime viewers. So it was good.
It's total fan service, and it's really is really, really funny. And I'm actually amazed at how the level to which these women are delivering, given that it was really only like a 7-day shoot. Like, and they went nuts. It's amazing.
Let's transition to what we're thankful for in pop culture. We have these ridiculous prompts. I'll go first as always, I guess. Our first thing is what celebrity or celebrity couple we're thankful for. I believe I said this in the past, but you know, I'm thankful for, I guess, Britney and Sam as a couple. Sam has been her lifeline and her support to the world. And he recently credited all of his success to her, which was pretty nice. And yeah, I mean, I'm glad that they're one of the few couples I care to follow.
Yes, and I'm still thankful for Sam in my Instagram feed.
Aw.
Yeah. What about you, Justin?
You know, not necessarily. I'm not going to do thankful for couples because I couldn't think of any that I liked particularly, but I am thankful for Megan Fox. You know, I think she's having a total kind of career resurgence. And even though she's associated with the Kardashians and her relationship with Machine Gun Kelly, I love that she's just like embracing the hot girl nostalgia that like exists around her, and she's just going full rock star girlfriend and is like, I'm the hottest bitch in the room. At least she's projecting that. And I don't know, I think people are putting more respect on her name and career. And Halloween this year, people really were paying a lot of attention to Jennifer's body. There were a lot of think pieces about it, so I'm very thankful for Megan Fox. But then also I am always thankful for Miss Cardi B. She's hosting the AMAs, and she's got her hit Facebook show, Cardi Tries. And I just love that she has maintained the kind of MO behind her success, which is that she's fully herself, like awkward fart jokes and all. And she's elevated herself more as just a multifaceted entertainer and not a rapper. She is a personality that can make a hit rap song and get her diamond plaques and whatever, but people just love her and they want to just watch her, and she is continuing to just be her unabashed self. And I am just always and forever thankful for Cardi B.
Well, I can co-sign that. Yeah.
Nice. I have to check this out. I love what you said about Megan Fox, because I love to think that like nobody's ever over in this industry, in life. Like there's always a second chance.
Well, some people should be over in the industry. Some people have had Mel Gibson. I mean, he's someone who has had multiple chances, and we're good.
Agreed. Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right,
Nice.
Fern, who are you thankful for?
Well, because Sex and the City is coming back, and I don't know if it's going to be good, but feel free to DM me. I want to talk about it. People, this is why when I miss AfterBuzz, like I want to talk about it with people. So my celeb, like who I'm thankful for, of course, is Sarah Jessica Parker, and I will defend her to the death. I will. This is the hill I will die on. She is my favorite celebrity. Her Instagram is my favorite. She's just so grateful. She's always showing, slices of her life in New York and moments in her life. And she's just so appreciative, and she's just herself. She hasn't done anything to her face. She is who she is. And she's a grateful, like, beautiful person. And she'll always be relevant to me.
I do think she's amazing, and I am excited for And Just Like That.
Yes. Thank
Nice.
you.
Nice. Well, speaking of TV shows, that's our next category here. What TV show and or film are we thankful for this year? And I just a little reflecting. Of course, one can never remember every show they watched all year long, but I recommended this show to a lot of people, and I thought it was really great, and it was wild and strange. But White Lotus, I was really into this year, and it was a unique kind of show, but I was thoroughly entertained and gripped through the whole thing. So for that, I will give it a nod. Did you look at White Lotus?
Yes,
Couldn't get past. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I watched. I binged it recently, like last weekend. So I wasn't a part of like the main conversation when it was all happening, but I knew I wanted to watch it, and yeah, I like blew through the episodes, was thoroughly entertained, and what I loved most about it was I thought that it was just a real exploration of humanity. Again, in these random people's stories, and it was very honest about people and their behavior, and there was there was someone we all know in that show, in all these different characters. And I thought it was really well done.
I always gravitate to ensemble dramas that have multiple storylines. That's why I like the soaps. And yeah, I mean, also just shout out to Jennifer Coolidge for an amazing performance, amazing sound design on the show. So to me, I am most thankful for, I guess, this year for the show. Fern, though, not so much, I guess.
No, I couldn't watch I watched the first episode, and then I couldn't get through this. I was like, I don't care about any of these people. I hate all of them, and I don't care about any of them. It's like the movie
Vanderpump Rules.
Same, yeah.
Like the movie, people love the movie Love Actually, and I hate that movie. I'm like, I hate every one of these people. They all deserve everything that's coming to them. And that's how I felt about White Lotus. I couldn't get into it because I didn't like anybody.
I didn't find them very likable either, but by the third episode, the way the story was written, I was like, I just needed to get it. By the third episode, I was like all in. But I mean, if it's just not your cup of tea, I get it. But for me, it was like, I was excited for it and it didn't let me down. So thankful for that.
And there was, complex social commentary, obviously, in there too.
It was smart. It was smart.
Yeah. But I understand that perspective, Fern, of when you don't like the people, you're tuned out.
Yeah. All right, Justin, what are you thankful for in television or film?
Oh, okay. I'm going to run through a quick list. I'm thankful. Well, it hasn't come out yet, but I am thankful that Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo were cast in Wicked. I think that's very exciting. Watching on television, I love Impeachment, American Crime Story. I like vaguely remember the scandal when it happened. And now as an adult, kind of watching it through this perspective and the way that the story is being told, I have a new kind of understanding, I think, about why they're just the negative perceptions around the Clintons, especially, and why there's just such a fervent rage still against them as politicians that I think is like really interesting. And then also Halloween Kills. Jamie Lee Curtis is still doing the damn thing. And she's an executive producer on this new rebooted trilogy, and they are truly terrifying. Beautifully shot, gory and intense, and I just think that the filmmaking behind it is incredibly effective, and they're good movies outside of just the Halloween season.
I'm a fan of Jamie Lee Curtis, definitely. I'm glad to see like she's doing so well, and she's got her podcasts, and she's really working it still. And I remember as a kid, people were saying her career was over because she wouldn't go under the knife, she wouldn't color her hair, and that was like the biggest cardinal sin. It was like, well, then she's done. And here we are, and she's not done at all. So I'm a fan of hers. I think she always gives a good interview too on talk shows. She always keeps it fresh. I enjoy her a lot. Okay.
She works for it. She's out there selling it,
Yeah.
Nice. I also loved American Crime Story. Loved it. It's so funny, Justin, when that all broke, it was 1998. I was spending a lot of time at your house, and that's when it was. And I remember it so well. And I love the way Ryan Murphy, the way he was so kind to Monica Lewinsky, not in the way he told the story, but he said, if I ever tell this story, you're the one who's going to be able to tell it. That the way the media treated her was atrocious. The way the media treated all of the women involved was atrocious. And to see it played out the way it happened, it was mind-blowing that it really did happen that way. And there were so many moments that I remember, and I'm re-horrified. I'm like, I can't believe I know that really happened, and I still can't believe it. So it was so well done.
All the actresses are amazing.
Yes, amazing. My other favorite show this year, Never Have I Ever. It's on Netflix. Ooh. Have you seen it? It's a story of an Indian American teenager, Devi Vishwakumar, and it's written and produced by Mindy Kaling, and it's just so. My friend and I call it our anxiety show. It's so funny. We watch it when we have anxiety, but it's because it's so funny, but it has so much heart. It's so good, and I just fell in love with it. I watched the first season last year, and the second season was this year, and I fell in love with it and watched both seasons again. It's so good, and I have so many ideas I'm in a Facebook group. I love it so much. I joined this Facebook group, and I have all these ideas for the third season. I'm like, if I could write for this show, I have a million ideas. It's such a good show.
Oh, I'll have to take your word for it and look at it. Yeah.
I'm going to watch it because I love Mindy Kaling, but I will watch.
Well, let's move on to our next category, album, song, or artist. I'll keep mine really quick, but for me, I've been listening to so much Lana Del Rey. It's ridiculous. I don't know why I'm so deep into it, but she's released 2 albums this year, so it's worth noting. Chemtrails Over the Country Club and Blue Banisters, and I've been listening to them a lot. I just love the instrumentals. It's very easy listening. Obviously, the lyrics are like poetry. She's fascinating to me. And I know a lot of people feel like she's had her moment, but she's still creating, and she's such an artsy type, and she's delivering, in my opinion, what nobody else is doing anymore. And she's just, one of those standouts to me. But I know when those end of year song list comes out, when those lists come out, she'll be within the top 10 easily, if not the top 2. And so I've just really gotten just super deep into her music lately. This whole last year.
Fine, and Lana's always really good around the fall.
Yeah. There's something about her music videos and the lyrics she used. It just paints such a picture. I have such an appreciation. So I'm definitely thankful for her.
Agreed. Cool. Okay, so I guess the artist that I'm thankful for, it was a no-brainer for me. Saucy Santana. Lil Nas X got a lot of attention this year for being this out gay rapper, but Saucy Santana is really where it's at. Saucy is going super viral on TikTok, on all the platforms. His song Walk, his song Rent Do. Saucy is a rapper with a lot of personality. Identifies as male, but has long nails, lipsticks, fancy bags, and is really just, putting his own stamp on hip hop music, and is selling out shows and become this viral sensation, being unabashedly, themselves. And it's a really kind of beautiful and exciting thing to see, and it's great turn up music. It is what you want to hear if you're going to any party or you're going to the gym. You just want to hype yourself up. Saucy Santana is where it's at.
Nice.
Unfamiliar, believe it or not. I'm not familiar. I'm surprised.
Get into it. Everybody listening, get into Saucy.
I'm now learning right here on the podcast.
Nice.
They're trying to into something new.
Any new music, so I'm learning so much.
Yeah, Fern, what do you think? What are you thankful for in music?
I don't know any new music. I love old music. I'm such an old soul. And I was listening to a podcast, The Just Enough Family, which is so good. DM me. That's another one. DM me if you've listened to it. It was so good.
What is it called?
It's called The Just Enough Family, and it's about the Steinbergs, but designer Liz Lang is part of that family, and she's interviewed. It's amazing. But they used a song that I've never, like an old song. I feel like I know all the songs from the 60s, and it's an old song that I never heard of that was kind of like lost. It was kind of like lost and then had a resurgence in the 2010 movie Blue Valentine. It's called You and Me by Penny and the Quarters. Never heard of them. But I keep listening to it over and over again. I love it. It makes me want
something new. Yeah.
It makes me want to wear like an A-line dress and drink a martini and dance around.
I also am very inspired by those 60s years.
Yes.
Fern, I totally am with you.
Nice. Oh, I did not expect that on this podcast.
But I will say, speaking of just like that whole vibe, and with Lana too, like Adele obviously just dropped. That's huge. And it's a beautiful album, and I think it's an emotional album as expected. But she was really, in her Winehouse bag. Like I think is just wearing her emotions on her sleeve and being very raw and vulnerable, but singing her face off in some places in ways that I think we haven't heard, but are very soulful and reminiscent of that era. So I do recommend.
I loved Amy Winehouse. Is that I have to listen to Adele.
Yeah, I need to prepare myself to listen to that album. I say this to everybody. Like, I'm not ready to turn it on when I'm walking the dog. I'm not putting it on in the background. Like, I need to prepare, and that's the whole thing.
Yeah. So, a little bit. And it's smart that you do that. And she actually just had Spotify adjust their platform so that you cannot listen to the album on shuffle.
So you're going for the full experience.
Telling a full story.
Yep, exactly. Because I think, there's a song on there called I Drink Wine. And I think just the context of the story she's telling, she wants you to experience it a certain way. And, and that matters.
I respect that.
Yeah.
I really respect that. That's great. Let's transition, though, to what we are not thankful for. Here we are. More importantly. Celebrity couple or celebrity we're not thankful for. I mean, it's the Kardashians have had a rule on this podcast from day one. Like, we're not talking about them. So it should come as no surprise that Pete and Kim, I'm so not thankful for. I'm not thankful for that they're in my feed. I'm not thankful for I have to kind of move around on page 6 to avoid the articles, the algorithm. I don't care. I mean, blink and you miss it anyway. This isn't going anywhere. It's just a waste of everyone's time.
I'm not especially invested in the Kardashians so much, but I like Pete and Kim. I think that she needs a funny man by her side. She's like crazy hot as ever, and coming off of whatever she's been through with Kanye, she needs someone that's going to make her laugh. And so I
completely agree. Yes. I think he's a perfect person to go from like such a, God bless Kanye, but he seems very serious and she needs someone to make her laugh. I agree.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just more like the saturation for me. I'm just not thankful for it. It's every headline. It's almost every other Insta story. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not interested enough to read read the article, but when I see it in the headline, I was like, good for her. She's a funny man.
I guess it was only a matter of time for these two to connect because they've dated everybody else. They've effed everybody else.
Well, speaking of oversaturation, and it pains me to say this because for all the mistakes that she makes, I love Jennifer Lopez, but I was not on board with Bennifer 2.0.
That's mine. Same.
Well, good. I'm glad.
Yes.
I love her style and aesthetic from that time. He only looks good when he's with her.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think it was just a sign that Jennifer just continues to put herself in unhealthy relationship situations, and she goes from guy to guy. And I would love to see my queen J-Lo just like stand out there on her own as a single mom and kill it. Like she doesn't need to always like have a guy there with her. She is like everything on her own. And I feel like she's the only one that doesn't see that.
Yes, I could not agree more.
Same.
It's so funny. It's my not thankful for celebrity couple, J-Lo and Ben, not thankful at all. She has everything. I don't want to see her like on a yacht with another guy like, who cares? Just be happy with yourself, and you are fabulous just as you are. Be a fabulous single mother. You don't need another guy. Just be single for a long time and have fun with it and love yourself. And then the right guy will come along, but you don't need to revisit history. It's not necessary.
She could create like a whole brand around single Jen and write a book and do a media tour and all this about how to be single at 40 plus and how to still be fabulous and go out with your girlfriends. And like she could monetize single Jen in a big way.
Yeah,
she really could.
Well, TV show or film that I'm not thankful for. I mean, so many films. I'm so not a film person these days. All the superheroes flying around, teaming up. It's just, I'm so disinterested. I want a human story. So this, I have now, of course, here I am as usual, not thankful for a show I never watched, but there's a reason why. This Squid Game show, it just seems too serious.
Same.
I am not thankful for this. I would not want to see it. I'm not interested in it. The memes freak me out. No, I'm rejecting the whole thing. No.
That's so interesting though, because you liked White Lotus, which I think also has like a similar sort of commentary on society.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw in an honorable mention too. On Hulu, there's a show called Shrill, and I tried really badly to get into it. No, I didn't finish it. A.D. Bryant is fine, but the show itself was not my cup of tea. And I sat through almost the whole thing. Yeah, I watched way too much of it. I should have quit long before. It didn't get better.
I only watched the beginning because I love her. I love A.D. Bryant, but yeah, it was like, it didn't hook me.
No. Yeah.
Well, I liked Squid Games, and as a sometimes sick reality TV producer, and part of what I do is coming up with ideas for new shows. Also, there were elements of that inspired me in one of my recent jobs, so I'm not mad at it.
Oh, good. I'm glad it was fruitful for you.
I mean, people
watch out, people.
People love it. I mean, I don't know enough about it, but for the little bit that I do know, it's just that's not my kind of show anyway. So I'm not surprised. And the thing is, when Britney Spears had a documentary on Netflix, that was not advertised in that front carousel, like that front page. And that was just when Squid Game or Squid Games, was it Squid Game, right? Singular?
Probably.
Yeah, it was the first thing. It was the only thing. And I was like, but where is Britney? So in a way, I already had a bad taste in my mouth because I was like, get this out of the way. This documentary is so important. But yeah, no, I'm not thankful for that. I'm not going to watch season 2. I'm not going to try. I'm okay with that.
Well, I would love to cut the D'Amelio show off the Hulu platform. I just think that that's like so unnecessary. They are kind of in the show complaining about the level of fame that they've achieved so quickly, even though it's attained them all of these things, including the television show about their family. And everyone in the family is trying to be their own sort of influencer.
What is this? What is like the log line for this?
This is a family docuseries about the D'Amelio family, starring Dixie and Charlie D'Amelio, who are two of the most successful TikTokers in the history.
Yeah, you lost me. Yeah, you lost. They'll be on Dancing with the Stars soon enough.
Yeah, I don't know. They're a big deal with the kids, but I don't know. I don't know what the kids are doing these days.
I don't even know who these people are, and I'm straight up not thankful. I don't need to know anymore. I'm co-signing already. All right, Fern.
She's so famous that I actually know who she is. So she should be grateful.
Yeah.
The TV show I'm not grateful for is Outlander. I watched the first season and I loved it, but it was not like, I'm not into like the way Squid Game was described to me is like very depraved. I'm not into like depraved things. I'm too sensitive for that. And I'll have OCD and like replay things in my head. I can't watch stuff like that. And it started out like Little House on the Prairie. It takes place in the 18th century. It's like Little House on the Prairie turns into Pulp Fiction, and I am disturbed. And I need people to tell me if I can handle like the other episodes, because it's really good, but it's really dark.
Yeah, I'm not thankful.
I would also like to throw in one more not thankful honorable mention.
Yes.
It's a classic. The View.
Oh, you're in the right place.
Talking to the right person.
So here's the thing, like
Go ahead now.
Now they've had through the Trump years, they obviously got a lot of attention with Megan, who I think was actually a really great addition to the panel. She brought them a lot of attention and a lot of headlines.
They trended every day with her on there.
Every day. But I think that I'm just very frustrated now because even the co-hosts who at times, and I don't agree with any of their politics all the time, or at least what they say or their commentary, but I think that they are getting a little bit just kind of too comfortable in being so outright rude. You know, I think the whole thing with Jedediah was really interesting. And just the way that they just kind of blindly sort of trashed her.
They set her up. Yeah,
I'm proudly double vaccinated and I'm going to get my booster. Jedediah is not vaccinated. She was on this show and was talking about why she was not. And they kind of very quickly just sort of shut her down without even having a real dialogue around, and that I think could have maybe moved the conversation more. And instead they just made themselves look like angry, bitter people.
Yes.
And I think it did them no favors, and they're writing their own, you know, ticket to cancellation if they keep that up.
Well, keep it up because it's time for this show to go. This is an automatic checkbox for me. The worst produced show on television. ABC News is The View. It's terrible. It's horrible. The women are just, it's out of control. And yeah, they very much are. No one's checking them. So they're very, very comfortable. And you know who's really comfortable on that show and shouldn't be is that executive producer. Side note, he was on a podcast talking about how the show is held together by duct tape and he white knuckles it every day. Could you imagine going on record about anyone's job, saying, yeah, no, I don't know what I'm doing. He's getting paid too. The worst, The View, the worst, the absolute worst. You know what? Forget Squid Game. I'm replacing it. I'm serious because it's like it really is, and it's not even an interesting watch anymore because they say the same stuff and it's not always even correct. So like, there's no one checking them. It's weird.
And I get frustrated when I'm like, the thing is like Megan, I didn't always agree with her, but I'm like, oh, she made a clear and concise point and it landed. And then I'm like, some of these other women on the panel, I feel like they talk in circles forever and we never get to what they're saying.
It's a mix. I think they all talk in circles. I mean, Megan made some really weirdo moments herself, but it's just there's right now it's not working, but they claim to love it, so they claim to think it's going great.
No, I have not worked in live. I don't even know if I want to work in live because that is a lot.
Yeah, no, if they weren't live, it would be flat. The show. Yeah. So, all right, glad that we got the View hate out of the way. That's kind of a must here. So yes, extremely not thankful for any of that mess. Now for transitioning to music artists that we're not thankful for. I wonder if we feel the same on this. I just have to get out of the way. Like Travis Scott, like I just can't be thankful for that. Like any of that. Like I don't care for him as an artist as it is, the whole thing. Like if he went away on a boat, like I'd be okay. Like I'm good. Goodbye.
I couldn't name a single one of his songs really, but like I know the music and I like the vibe. So like if it's on, I will rock to it. But the whole thing with the concert is like so disappointing and messed up. And I just think that you can't skirt accountability for that in the way that a lot of people are responsible for. There now being 9-10 people dead, including a 9-year-old child. Like it's very upsetting, and other artists have spoken out, and I think that's a great thing.
If you dig deep into that story, it's a lot of messed up stuff.
There's also like weird conspiracies out there about like devil symbols associated with him, and like I'm not one for all that, but I just think I don't know, it's disappointing. Any loss of life is sad, especially under like those circumstances, and I just wish like he and everybody involved would have more, all of us as people. This is the Thanksgiving panel. I'm thankful to be alive after this crazy couple of years with COVID and everything. And I just wish people would be more appreciative and respectful of other people's existence on this planet.
Amen. Perfectly
Absolutely.
said.
Yeah. Does anyone else have any options here beyond that?
I got some behind the scenes scoop that Chance the Rapper is like not the best interview. And, you know, lately I just feel like since his first album came out, he hasn't, maybe not his first, but the music hasn't been hitting. Chance the Rapper, the music hasn't been hitting. And, you know, I hear behind the scenes that you're not as nice as your smile projects to the public. So,
well,
I'm over it.
There's a lot of rappers out there, so you got to be really talented to stand out.
Nice.
Fern?
I don't really have one. I mean, I
feel like when you give me like, I don't like someone from the 60s. like I just feel like, yeah, because it's like, it's just not like your space. So I get it. But like,
no, but I actually never have I ever. There was a song in that show that I listened. Do you ever listen to a song so much that you end up hating it and like ruins it for you?
Yeah, that's happened.
I did that with Heat Waves by Glass Animals. It's such a good song. I love it. Listen to it too much.
Well, obviously the big honorable mention, we're not thankful for Mark Zuckerberg and Meta / Facebook and what they've done to all of us as humans. We don't know who we are anymore.
There's a lot of that. Yeah, there's a lot I'm not thankful for on that front.
Yeah, so everybody, you know, take a little step away from your phones, get some fresh air, and go for a walk. And
well, that does it on that very negative note.
What we're not thankful for. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a mix, you know, but this is the best thing is like that. There's a lot thrown at us every year, and then we get to really celebrate the good and the bad. Thank you guys for joining the podcast. This was our annual Thanksgiving panel. I so wish I could do this stuff in person. The virtual stuff works, but imagine how much fun we'd have in person, you know?
Yeah, one day again, it'll be great.
Yeah. Well, my thanks to Fern, my thanks to Justin, and to you guys for listening. Happy Thanksgiving. And as always, we'll be back with more rants. I am planning the holiday episode, and the podcast will continue. Thank you, guys.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy
Bye.
Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
This has been Grant's Rants. Follow Grant on Twitter and Instagram at It's Grant's Rants. Cover art created by RHONY. Original theme music by Alexander Arntzen. The Grant Michael Collection.